Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah. I want to take first a moment to appreciate all the organizers. We come as speakers and we talk for 30 minutes, but it has been taken, I'm sure, months, maybe 6 months to organize an event like this. So an acknowledgement for the organizers, the volunteers, all the people behind the scenes. So let's hear it for the organizers. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. I'm going to make a very bold statement right now, and I'll say that what I'm going to share in this talk is the prerequisite in getting unity as an ummah. Okay, so for those of you who listen carefully till the end, you'll see why, inshallah. Unity, what a powerful and essential theme for the world we're living in right now. Our strength, our survival, and our identity as Muslims depend on our ability to unite as one. Unity is a source of strength. Unity is a source of peace. And unity is a source of victory. When we are united, we are unstoppable. When we are united, we cultivate peace. When we are united, we achieve success as an ummah. And when we are united, we achieve victories. Victory over division, victory over conflict, and victory over the forces that try to tear us apart. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. You hear this verse over and over in this conference. Hold firmly to the rope of Allah and do not become divided. But how can we dream of unity among the ummah when we are not even united within our own homes? Husbands and wives act like enemies to one another, fighting, yelling, resorting to violence, or giving each other the silent treatment, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months at a time. How can we dream of unity among the ummah when parents abuse their children verbally, emotionally, and even physically? When children are disrespectful, living double lives, questioning Islam, and planning their escape? How can we aspire to overlook our differences as nations when we can't even overlook them within our own families? Brothers and sisters, the home is the foundation of our society, the first place where unity must be established. If we cannot create harmony, love, and understanding between the people closest to us, our own families, how can we hope to create unity on a larger scale? This is where the transformation must begin. If we want to see the ummah rise again, if we want to overcome the challenges of division and disunity, we must start in our homes. Unity begins between the husband and wife, between the parent and child, between the siblings. This is where the seeds of unity are planted, and from here they grow to strengthen the larger community. The best of you are those who are best to their families. This is not just a reminder of how we should be with our families. It is a reminder that the strength of the ummah lies in the strength of the family. The peace, respect, and love we cultivate at home will spill over to the wider community, and only then Will we be able to stand united as people? Unity in the family doesn't just happen by accident. It takes effort, it takes intention, and it takes a commitment to the values that bring people together. We can't just hope for unity or expect it from others. We have to work on it, moment by moment, day by day. So how do we achieve this? How do we achieve unity within the family? How do we instill love, trust, and peace? It all starts with important principles that build on unity, not just at home, but in every part of our lives. To make it easy, I'll explain it using an acronym, UNITY, where each letter will represent the value we need to embrace. Are you ready? Inshallah? Bismillah. All right, so the U, what do you think the U stands for in unity? Anyone? Any guesses? Let's start with U is for understanding. U is for understanding. The first and most fundamental step in building unity is understanding. Now, if you look at most conflict, whether it's between a husband and wife, whether it's between a parent and a child, or whether it's even between the siblings, there is a misunderstanding, a lack of understanding. Too often, what do people think? I see this all the time with my clients. They come and they tell their spouse or their children, I'm right, you're wrong, and this is how you need to change. Now, imagine how different would our relationships be if we truly sought to understand before demanding to be understood. Think of it this way. If you are driving in a car, but you never check your mirrors, you never look around you, and where other people are, how can you avoid a collision? Now, in the same way, if we never take the time to understand, we never take the time to understand other people's perspectives, their emotions, their struggles, how can we avoid conflict? So understanding is the mirror we must look into before moving forward into the relationship. I will repeat this. So for each letter and each value, I'm going to give you an analogy because I want this to really stick. I want you to remember it. I want you to apply it because the knowledge will either count for us or against us. So I want it to stick so you apply it, inshallah, so it'll count for you. So understanding is the mirror we must look into before moving forward into any relationship. So when you listen without interrupting, that's a hard one for some people, right? So if you have a tendency to interrupt and you're like, but let me tell you this, or you become defensive, I challenge you to listen without interrupting. Give the person a chance to express themselves. You need to validate. Validate. This is the secret sauce for resolving problems. Please write this down, that validating is not equal to agreeing. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. Let's say you had a really terrible day at work, and maybe either your employee or let's say your supervisor got mad and made you embarrassed, and you come and you share it with your spouse. What do you expect from your spouse? What do you expect? You expect some empathy, right? Now, if they got in trouble for being late, and you're always mad at them for being late, that's not the time to say, well, of course they're going to pick on you. You're never on time. And it's not the time to say, well, you know what, your supervisor, they're actually a really nice person. You don't want to side with the enemy. All you do at that moment, you want to hear an easy way out of conflict, say that must have been really hurtful and embarrassing that happened. The next time your spouse comes and tells you, you know what your mother did? Your mother just mistreated me or she excluded me. You don't immediately say, no, you're wrong, she's right. You say, it must have been very hurtful that my mom treated you this way. It must have been very hurtful to experience that. And that's it, okay? All right, we got to move right along. So understanding lays the foundation, but love, nurturing love is what allows the unity to flourish. Once we understand, we must nurture the relationship. So what do you think the N is for? The N is for nurturing. You have to nurture this relationship like a gardener. And the analogy is a gardener. What does a gardener have to do? They have to water, they have to provide sunlight, they have to take care of it. If they do, they will see such results, right? So we want to make sure that we are nurturing this love and putting a lot of effort into it. And how do we show? How do we nurture? How do we give love? By showing the 5 A's of loving. 5 A's. The first A, appreciation. Show appreciation. Your wife makes a meal. Say, thank you so much. Your spouse is helping out at the home. I really appreciate what you're doing. The first A, appreciation. Second A, affection. Give hugs. Do you know that if you hug for 10 seconds, you release oxytocin? Make sure you do that with your spouse on a daily basis. The third A, allowing. Allow your spouse to grow. Allow them to excel. Allow them to have me time. Fourth A, attention. Put your phones away and give undivided attention. And the fifth one is acceptance. Stop trying to change your spouse. Accept them as they are. Now, so we said what? The U is for understanding, right? The N is nurturing. What do you think the I is? While nurturing love is crucial, it can only thrive when the I is for integrity. When there is integrity. Because integrity forms the foundation of trust. And trust, my brothers or sisters, is a non-negotiable. In any relationship, no lies, not big ones, not little ones. We cannot afford to break the trust of our spouse. And spouse, if you think about it, trust has several layers. There is loyalty, where you know the other person is not going to be disloyal to you in any way. Then there's being reliable. You say you're going to do something, do it. You say you're coming home at 5, come home. Or if not, call and say. Under promise, over deliver. This is a business concept that works great with relationships. And then there is the trust in knowing how to say the right thing at the right time. Build the trust with your spouse. And just like a house, so what is the analogy for integrity? This is like the foundation, a foundation of your home. If your foundation has cracks in it, then what is going to come? It's going to break down when you build on it. So you can't have deceit, you can't have deception, you can't have suspicious behavior. While integrity lays the foundation for trust, true unity within a family thrives on teamwork. So the T for unity is teamwork. Teamwork. Think of your family as a dynamic sports team where everyone has a role to play. Just like players, right? The players, they have different positions on the field. Each family member brings something special to the table. Husband and wives, you are not opponents to one another. You are on the same team. Your favorite team, let's take a soccer team. If they start tripping each other, what's going to happen? They're not going to win. They don't stand a chance. Don't undermine your spouse in front of the children. Children, your parents are not your enemy. They are not your enemy. See each other as a team and work together. Because if you recognize that you're working towards one goal, then you will definitely prosper, inshallah. So we've discussed the power of teamwork, right, within the families, being like a sports team, and that we're all working towards the same goal. Now let's delve into another critical aspect. What do you think the Y stands for? You'll never guess. What is the Y? The Y is for yielding. Yielding. So sometimes, now unity sometimes requires yielding. I want to ask you a question. What do you think? What is a three-letter word that destroys all relationships? Any guesses? Ego. Very good. So sometimes, unity sometimes requires yielding, sacrificing your ego, letting go of your pride, prioritizing the relationship over being right. I remember I had a Swiss-Italian neighbor, a revert, mashallah, and one of her favorite expressions was, win the hearts, not the arguments. And if we live by that, it's not about winning or losing. It's about winning the hearts. It's about pleasing Allah. We're going to be held accountable for every hurtful word we say, for every act that we do. It's all being recorded, and it's going to be played back to us. So really, we need to suppress the ego. Now, what is the analogy for yielding? I want you to see yourself like a bamboo tree. Bamboo trees. Now, we just saw the storm, the hurricane in Florida, and may Allah protect everybody there, and may Allah protect our ummah throughout the world, inshallah. What is happening? Some trees just break, right? But then you see there are the trees that sway. And what we need to be is be able to be flexible and not so rigid, right? And yielding requires humility, patience, and sometimes the strength to be silent when your ego screams for you to fight back. So we know that if someone has a mustard seed of arrogance in their heart, they won't even be able to smell Jannah. And they're humble people out there, but when it comes to their marriage, when it comes to their relationships, there's a lot of ego. And there's this idea of wanting to be right. So we need to be humble and let go of this need to be right. So when we bring together, as a recap, okay, so we have U is for understanding, right? When we have understanding, first seek to understand, then be understood. N is for nurturing love, nurture it like a gardener. Make sure you're making the love better and stronger. What is I for? Integrity. Y'all are paying attention? That's great, mashallah. So integrity, make sure there's trust. You don't lie, you don't act deceitful. What is the T for? Teamwork. Teamwork is dream work, right? You work together as one team. And then the Y is for yielding. Excellent. So inshallah, may Allah put this sense of unity in our hearts. And now you see why this is the prerequisite of getting unity within our ummah. We need to start at home, build the unity, strengthen at home, so that inshallah as an ummah we can thrive and we can rise again. May Allah bring peace to our brothers and sisters in Gaza, in the brothers and sisters in Lebanon, in Yemen, and all over the world, in Sudan, and also in China. And may Allah help us to establish this form of unity in order to thrive. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.